Howdy YouTube, this is Charles with Our Tiny Cabin Project. Today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 essential items for when shit hits the fan. Most people know that you can go about 30 days without food. But the human body can only sustain life for about 3 days without water. And that's why number 1 on my essentials list is some sort of water purification kit. My water purification kit in this little bag that I picked up at the dollar store. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars on gear and special filters. I have a $20 Sawyer mini filter. This is a really cool little item. It filters, I believe, up to 10,000 gallons of water if it's maintained properly. And it also filters out 99.9 microns of parasites and bacteria and viruses. The downside is the Sawyer will not filter out any kind of contaminants along the lines of any kind of chemical that may have gotten into the water. Now, above and beyond any kind of doomsday scenario, post-apocalyptic, I'm talking about something like this is beneficial in a real-life emergency situation. Think of Hurricane Katrina. Think about the floods that happened in Missouri where people were stranded and the water wasn't palatable or safe to drink because the water treatment plants had become overrun with floodwaters and the water for the entire town had been contaminated. A lot of people were heavily reliant on government-assisted water that was being ported in. Well, what if you're in an area where that's not a possibility? What if it's a situation like Katrina or, God forbid, a major earthquake? Or something along that lines where help may not be right around the corner. You're going to have to be able to take care of yourself. The Soy Water Filter is very simple to use. It comes with this little bag. Fill this bag up with the water, you screw this on, and you can drink and squeeze, and drink and squeeze, and you're drinking water that has gone through the filter and is safe to drink. The other thing that's really nice about the Sawyer mini filter is the screw size fits most standard bottle caps. Sawyer also comes with this nifty little syringe to clean it. You just squeeze out some of the filtered water, suck that up in here, and backwash out the filter, and the filter is then fresh and clean and ready to be used for the next time you need it. Redundancy is key when you're trying to think in the realms of preparedness. That's why, as a backup measure, I carry Aqua Tablets. These are really simple to use. You drop them in the questionable water, wait 30 minutes, and the water should be safe to drink. It'll kill bacteria and parasites that were living in the water. And then also, of course, there is boiling water, and there's a multitude of ways to boil water to make it safe to drink, which leads me into my essentials number 2. The second thing that I consider essential when thinking in realms of disaster preparedness is a fire kit. It'll help you cook food, keep warm in the winter, and boil water for purification, as well as provide light in the evening, and the smoke can function as a distress signal if you're stranded somewhere and need to be seen from far away. I keep chapstick also in my fire kit because it works as great accelerant for the tinder. You rub it on a cotton ball, it'll take a spark and burn longer. I keep a cheap lighter. I keep a fire steel in my fire kit, along with a variety of tinder. In my fire kit, I keep a couple cotton balls and some Surefire light tinders. I also keep a box of wooden matches. Depending on the season, fire can be just as important, if not more important, than having palatable water, because if you don't have the Sawyer straw and you don't have Aqua Tablets, your only means to purify water is going to be to boil it. And remember, if you can't drink water for 3 days, you're going to die. If you drink water that's got some sort of contamination in it and causes you to have diarrhea, you're going to probably die even quicker due to the fact that you're dehydrated. Dehydration brings me to my shit hits the fan essentials number 3, a first aid kit. A first aid kit is an essential item for all of your preps because if you, your family member, or someone on your team gets hurt and help can't come, you need to be able to have something like this on hand to be able to help treat the wounded and the sick. This is a pretty comprehensive first aid kit. It only cost me 15 bucks at my local Walmart. It is an incredibly comprehensive kit. It's got quick clean, safety pins, medicines, cold packs, gauze. It has a thermal mylar blanket to help keep you warm. Be sure to add antidiarrheal medicine to any first aid kit you have, because usually it does not come standard in them. In the event of the fact that you're going to be in a disaster type situation, there's a really good probability you're going to run across water that's not that palatable to drink or safe to drink. On top of the fact that just the stress of the situation alone can cause you to have diarrhea. Dehydration is one of the #1 killers of people in disaster situations, whether they be stranded or it's a true SHTF situation. Considering hypothermia is the #2 killer of all individuals in a disaster type situation, that brings me to my SHTF Essentials number 4. My SHTF Essentials number 4 is shelter, or protection from the elements. I carry one of these camouflage ponchos. Not only is it going to be good for if you're out in the woods, helping keep your visibility low, but it will keep the rain and moisture off you. It'll also add a layer of protection between you and the elements, keeping you dry. Considering most of the clothing that people wear, t-shirts and so forth, are made of cotton, cotton kills, so you do not want to get wet. Not only does this offer you a layer of protection between the elements when you're on the move, it can also be structured into a makeshift rainfly or tent-like structure to protect you or a couple people from the elements. An option to protect yourself from the elements that a lot of people choose is something along the lines as simple as a tarp or trash bags. Throw them in your bug-out bag. You can make a tent-like structure with a ridgeline, some paracord. You can wrap it around yourself as a blanket. You can turn it into an improvisational poncho. On top of that, you have other uses for the tarp, such as collecting and carrying water, gathering and foraging food. You can use it as a satchel to carry your findings. And finally, we come to my Shit Hits the Fan Essentials number 5. A knife is a must-have in any kind of disaster situation. It is a multifunctional tool. A knife can be used to help fashion shelter. If someone is trapped in a car and they are knotted up in their safety belt, the knife can be used to cut the seat belt. If you were in the river and you're tangled up in anchor line or fishing line and trapped, you can use a knife to cut yourself free. You can use a knife to process game. You can use a knife to hunt. You can use a knife for protection. A knife is essential. Avoid gimmicky crap like this. We all saw Rambo and we thought he was the bomb, and we all ran out and we all purchased, when we were 12, the Rambo knife. I guarantee you will fail on you day 1 in the field. The blade is held on with a little screw inside the handle. It will break the first time you try to chop with it or saw with it. The little fishing kit in it is alright if you know what you're doing. The compass that's in the handle, almost on all of them, they don't show north. Avoid these. They're crap. And other gimmicky items such as this. When it comes to knives, I suggest that you go with something that has been manufactured for a long time, is tried and true, tested, and you know is going to work flawlessly. I personally prefer full tang knives, but a good alternative and kind of a happy medium is the Mora. Mora makes amazing knives with a Scandi grind. You can work the hell out of these knives and they're not going to break. It is a partial tang. It's a rat tail. It comes down over 3/4 of the way. It's got a rubberized grip. It's not going to slip out of your hands, especially if it's raining and your hands are wet or you're scared and you're sweating. If you're cleaning an animal and you're covered in blood, the knife is not going to slip out of your hands. They come razor sharp out of the box, as well as the fact that they also come in a stainless steel and carbon choice. I personally chose stainless steel because I spend a lot of time down at the river and I'll use this to process cut bait. A worst case scenario, get yourself a good lock back. If you're going to go with a knife like this, make sure it is a buck. Spend the $40 that this knife costs and buy a buck. If you buy something that's manufactured under a name brand name that wasn't made by that manufacturer, you are buying garbage. Like if you buy a Winchester knife or anything along those lines, more than likely they were made by a third party and just rebranded. Buy a knife that is a name brand knife that you know is going to last. Some cheap knives are good. The Mossy Oak makes a pretty decent Bowie knife that is full tang. The knife runs about $30 to $20, and a knife like this is really kind of what you want to carry in a shit hits the fan scenario. You can chop with it. Just the looks of it alone are intimidating if you need to use it for protection. It's a thick steel, so the chances of it breaking and snapping on you are not likely unless you're beating it against a rock. Well, there you have it, my top 5 essentials for when shit hits the fan. I'd love to hear from you guys what you think the top 5 essential items are, if you disagree or think something should be included and something excluded in a level of importance when it comes to disaster preparedness. For a more comprehensive look as to what a long-term bug-out bag would look like, check out my video, Small Bug-Out Bag Stuffed with a Ridiculous Amount of Gear. Again, this is Charles with Our Tiny Cabin Project. Catch you later.